Coming up on the CHGO Cubs podcast, the Cubs dropped their second consecutive series, and Sundays continue to ruin my life. The good, the bad, the ugly, all for the moms. Coming up next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? This is the CHGO Cubs podcast driven by Toyota. Let's go places and bet 365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Use code CHGO365 at sign up. Happy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day. Cody Delmendo sitting in Luke Stuckmeyer's seat. Joey Kostopoulos sitting in my seat and basically replacing Luke Stuckmeyer for a day.
Impossible.
I mean,
but I'm gonna try.
You're gonna try.
He is the mother goose,
and
of the CHGO Cubs
I'm gonna try and lead the show, which is something that Luke does so much better than me. But for one day, we can do it, guys. Anyway, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. You all deserved better than what we got today. You absolutely did. I deserve better, but the moms especially deserved a better Sunday or a better Cubs performance than me or you.
Yeah, quick announcement to my mom who might be watching live. Fancy dinner is canceled. We're going to Taco Bell. Because we just dropped 2 of 3 after a 2-4 week. Tough loss after honestly a pretty thrilling win on Saturday night. But we're here to talk all about it. And
we're going to talk about the game, Sunday's game first. We got to talk about Matt Boyd, and we're going to talk about Cade Horton's performance yesterday and just the overall weekend series later in the show, and some other newsy stuff around the league before we get out of here, if we have time. So stick around. Hit the like button for us. We got Sarah on the 1s and 2s. What's up?
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mom's Day. You went to brunch with your mom before you came in, right?
We cooked brunch this morning for my mother.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we always do. We baked her stuff and cooked her stuff. And what is it? Then we tried to watch the Cubs game on TV, but then I realized it was on Roku, so couldn't watch the game then at home, so I came to work.
Yeah. The Cubs offense also had a hard time finding the Roku channel through the first 5 innings today.
Yes, they did.
It was a difficult loading the app on that.
So anyway, Cubs lose 6-2 to the Mets. They dropped 2 of 3 in New York. And let's do reactions first, and then we can go through. I'm frustrated about this loss because it was such a fun win Saturday night. I'm sitting in my 900-foot square apartment on a Saturday night in May, watching this team because I like watching this team play baseball. Could have been out. Could have been doing things with my friends. Could have been watching the game with my friends. No. I decided to stay in, to enjoy my Saturday night. And we got a thrilling win. The bullpen was great. The offense came up big in key spots. You got a full team effort from Saturday night's game. You got a quick turnaround today, just like you did on Wednesday in that series finale against the Giants, except it was a reverse this time. You were coming off a win, and my delulu, or my optimism, Joey, was like, well, maybe we flip the script on a Sunday now because you're coming off a win, and it doesn't happen. I do think that they gave a better effort than they did last Wednesday, even though they only had 3 hits. One of them went over the wall, thankfully. And we'll talk about PCA's homer. But overall, it just kind of felt like another flat performance and another sign of this team's inability to win these tight, close, low-scoring games. And as much as I have applauded this offense for, they lead baseball in almost every offensive category. That you would rather be there than not, right? They are not showing consistency in winning these close games. You're going to have close games. Even though you won a close game Saturday, you still scored 6 runs. I'm talking about winning a low-scoring, close game. And I think there's a domino effect to what happened in today because of yesterday. That's besides the point. The point that I'm making in this very moment is that they have all season have really struggled to win these low-scoring, close games. Now, if you're going to score 4, 5, 6 runs per game every day, moving forward the rest of the year, I guess it's dumb to complain about. But let's be realistic here. That's not always going to happen. Griffin Canning was great today for the Mets. And their bullpen showed up. Ryan Stanek coming in, pounding 100-mile-an-hour fastballs up in the zone, and we're swinging and missing. He strikes out PCA, and he gets a lazy fly out from Kyle Tucker late in the game, or in that 8th inning. He came in and did the job that Porter Hodge could not do today. So overall, I'm not trying to go on some long tangent. Overall, it's just frustrating because it felt like after PCA hit the homer, maybe, just maybe, we're going to finally win one of those close, low-scoring games, and it just didn't happen. Yeah,
especially after Nico racked that double, too, as well to tie the game, which we're going to dive into. Look, man, you're right. When you talk about those margins, it hurts a little bit more when you have Shota Imanaga on the IL and Justin Steele out for the season. I mean, I don't want to beat the dead horse on this, but it's just a fact, and we were talking about it during the show, that in a weird, strange way, all of a sudden, the Matthew Boyd starts are kind of those gotta-have-it days a little bit, where you need that W, and you got a strong pitching performance from Matthew Boyd today. He only gave up 2 runs. And look, I don't know what's going on with the Chicago Cubs on Sundays. I think they're 1-6. Maybe they're 1-7 now, which is insane. They're eventually going to have to turn that around. But the other part about that I thought about going into the weekend was I listened to a hit on Waddle and Sylvie with Jeff Passan, who brought up the stat that the Chicago Cubs pitching staff the last 2 weeks had given up the second fewest home runs in Major League Baseball over the last 2 week span. They gave up 9 this weekend. And when you're talking about the offense and that pitching staff, and we're going to dive into the bullpen, trust me, they needed it to show up just a little bit more today. And it came a little late. And look, man, the Cubs are in it right now offensively after an incredibly hot start. They've come back to earth. And now I sort of feel like the baseball season's actually beginning now after that, as you said, a Delulu type of offensive start. So we'll see how it goes. They definitely had this game as a possibility in their hands today. They let it go, but we're going to get to it later. The schedule starts to loosen up a little bit, and hopefully they can start winning some more games.
The Mets really hit 9 homers this weekend?
So if I'm hearing this, if I have this correct, they hit, I think they hit 4 on Friday. 4 on Friday.
Right.
I think they hit 1 yesterday, and then they either hit 3 or 4 today.
Well, Vientos had the 1 homer to give them the lead.
Yep. Nimmo went yard today.
Nimmo went yard?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's either way. It's a lot of homers.
They gave up. They gave up a lot. No. So I remember walking that stat walked into with that stat, and all of a sudden now you're saying to yourself, okay, that's an interesting. Maybe they're turning it around, and then flipperoo right back around.
Well,
give up the long ball.
I think while that's a great nugget that Jeff Passan, or that you bring up about what Jeff Passan said about the Cubs being the top of the league in terms of not giving up homers. And they've played tough teams, as we've said, but they hadn't faced the Mets yet. And the Mets, with this lineup, we rave about the Dodgers. We raved about the Dodgers after the Japan series because we just got dominated those 2 games. And, I was as high on life as anyone after sweeping the Dodgers at home and winning the series in L.A. And listen, you got Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy, all these names. This Mets lineup is right up there, man. Lindor, Juan Soto, who didn't even have that great of a weekend.
Craig Counsell felt that way with some of the moves that we'll get into that he made the last couple days.
Pete Alonso is having a career season, or at least his best season probably since 2019 when he hit 50-plus bombs.
Starling Marte, not a slouch.
Right.
Vientos killed us all.
Yeah,
killed us all weekend.
Vientos is a really good player. Brett Beatty, 2 homers yesterday.
No.
I don't. It's when I say it's right up there. When I say it's better than the Dodgers lineup, probably not. But I do think that it's deep, and I do think that it's a really good offense. And in some ways, you do have to give them some credit. But this goes back to a lot of this, especially late in the game, goes back to the fact that they just don't generate enough whiffs. in many parts of this pitching staff. Now, Boyd was awesome today, and even though he gave up a homer, it was a solo shot. You know?
Cashed on those Ks though, 5.5 Ks.
Yeah,
cashed.
if he had 5.5, he cashed. But even in the bullpen, it feels like that. Like, I could be wrong for certain guys, but I just felt like when that Mets bullpen, their high leverage guys come in, it's like they come in and you sit down because they ain't giving up a lot of hard contact, and they're getting a ton of whiffs. Stanek came in and just shoved it, man. And Diaz, I mean, we know who he is, and I do think that the Mets bullpen is in a better situation than the Cubs.
Would you say that the Giants bullpen's in a better situation? Because some of the guys they ran out in that series scared me a little bit too as well.
Going into that series, the Giants had like the second lowest bullpen ERA going into that series.
Right.
But of course, the Cubs ended up losing that game, but they did blow it in the 9th inning. So I don't know. It go back and forth. Bullpen's volatile. Yeah. We sit here and we celebrate certain guys, and then a day later, it's like they suck. Like that's what my mentions are right now. Porter Hodge was awesome yesterday getting the save, and then he just didn't have it today. And I know that going into tomorrow, Porter Hodge is still the guy that I have the most confidence in.
And double-edged sword, we're now like debating whether Brad Keller should have stayed out for a second inning.
Yeah.
Double-edged sword, is that really the type of spot that you want to be in with your bullpen in general right now? I don't think so. But yeah, no, it was an interesting week. They go 2-4 against the Giants and the Mets, obviously at home for the Giants, in New York for the Mets. I'm excited. You said I'm excited to see the Mets come to Wrigley and see if it's a little bit different there. Well, again, the National League is really deep.
Yeah.
This was a minor litmus test this week for the Chicago Cubs. I thought that they were obviously competitive in all these games. I think that they're right there, but there are still plenty of questions on the pitching side, and we learned a lot about that this week.
All right. Well, Bobby Blanco in the comment section says, "Stop talking bullpen. We scored 2 runs." All right, let's talk offense, because I'm always sitting here talking about how if you don't score runs, you're putting your bullpen in position to fail. So, Bobby Blanco, I don't even necessarily disagree with you, brother.
Let's do it.
All right, 3 hits. 3 hits. Dansby Swanson infield single, PCA solo homer, upper deck, by the way, which was electric, and I won money. Thank you. Shout out Bet365. And then Nico Hoerner's RBI double. That I felt like after he hit that, I was like, okay, here we go. Like the bullpen was in for the Mets. Reed Garrett came in. It looked like he didn't necessarily have it. You tied it, but you couldn't keep it going. Swanson hit one hard out to center, but caught. And then Turner in the inning with a lazy fly ball. And then after, like, that was it. After, like, got nothing else out of the offense. I think the 3rd inning, the Cubs had a great opportunity. What was it? That was when Swanson had the infield hit.
At first and second, nobody out.
Then Turner walked. Birdie hits an opposite field fly ball.
Do you bunt there?
Yeah, do you bunt there? I think that's a question. And then PCA comes up and strikes out in that situation. Tucker grounds out to end the inning. For this offense, when Seiya and Tucker both go 0 for 8 total, I have said this before. With this offense goes through them, in my opinion. The Tucker and Seiya, and PCA is playing at an MVP level right now, no doubt. But at the same time, like, you need your big run producers to come through in big moments, and Tucker didn't deliver anything today. He had a couple lazy ground balls. He had a lazy fly ball. And I've seen some people in our Twitter mentions and my mentions saying, like, Tucker's awesome, but he's in a funk right now. All I can say is that he's not as hot as he was the first, 3 weeks of the year.
None of them are, though.
Right.
That's the thing.
Tucker just hit a homer on Friday. I know it was a meaningless homer, but he did hit a homer on Friday. You know what I mean? And I still think that he's giving you good at bats because he's walking almost every day. So that is one end of the spectrum. The other end is he's hitting second in the lineup. And when he comes up with guys on base, whether there's 2 outs or not, if he wants to get paid the kind of money that people are saying he's going to get paid, I hold him to a higher standard.
As you should. And the Chicago Cubs fans honestly do as well, because as we keep talking about these numbers, and as they should too as well. And in April, we were talking about it. I think Kyle Tucker had one of the better, I was just going off of OPS plus, one of the better offensive months you're going to get from a Chicago Cubs star. And honestly, Chicago Cubs history in the last 30 or 40 years. But man, we're going to get into it on the other side of the break here in a second. But dude, like ever since around April 22nd, April 24th, around then, when the Cubs offense was really at its apex of scoring those 6-7 runs a game, they've come back to earth a little bit. I mean, let's be honest. Michael Busch on April 20th hitting 316. That's gone down 60 or 70 points. What Carson Kelly, obviously we all know about that. April 19th, 419 down to the low threes. April 11th, Seiya 302. May 1st, 295. He's in the 240s now. Yeah. This is a part of the Major League season. The only thing that we have to avoid is last year when Jed Hoyer said, well, it's unfortunate when the Cubs just collectively went into an offensive slump for 2 whole months in a row. Yeah. If we can avoid that and turn these into spurts of low offensive production for 8 or 9, 10 days in a row, it's part of a Major League season. I can live with that. But again, turning the page, starting this week against the Marlins, we want to see it.
Well, I'm not even sitting here saying that the offense as a whole is in a deep slump. They scored 6 runs yesterday.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, it's not. It's just gone down a little bit. And I think Cubs fans
they didn't score runs on Friday. They had 2 homers they had the Tucker and the Busch homer on Friday. And then, obviously that series finale against the Giants, they didn't do anything. So 3 out of the last 4 games, the offense hasn't been very good. We can talk more about the offense here in a second, but I just want to say that it hasn't been some long period. You know what I mean?
Like we had last year.
And also,
that was crazy.
And also, Ian Happ's out of the lineup each of the last 2 days. He scored 6 runs without Ian Happ, and you saw what this lineup looks like if you don't have Ian Happ in it consistently today.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll talk more about the offense, and obviously we got a lot to talk about the pitching side coming up. But first, baseball fans, if you're thinking about upgrading your drive this season, Toyota's 2025 lineup is definitely worth a look. First up, there's the RAV4. It's versatile, reliable, and always ready for a little adventure. Then there's the Grand Highlander. Plenty of room, super comfortable, great for families for long road trips. Looking for efficiency? The Corolla's got you covered. It's smart, stylish, and easy on gas. Need something a little tougher? The Tacoma brings serious durability, whether you're on the road or off the beaten path. And finally, the Camry, sleek, fun to drive, and packed with performance. You can check it out. You can check out the full lineup at Toyota.com or stop by your local Chicagoland Toyota dealership. Toyota, let's go places. And we've been pushing this for a while, obviously, but it's a great time to become a diehard.
Always a good time, but now more than ever.
Yeah. Now more than ever is no better time to become a diehard because we got baseball season in full force. And I know today sucked with the loss, but Cubs are still in first. The Cubs are still in a really good spot to be in. A lot of teams wish they were in the Cubs spot right now. So we got to follow this. You got to be in the Discord. And I know we're probably going to have more events this summer. You might want to come out and you can get a discount if you become a diehard. You get 20% off the discounts. You get 20% off all the new merch that we put out at the beginning of the year. Plus the Friday 120 Club shirt is popular.
Those are kind of fun.
Yeah.
I'm taking it back. They're incredibly fun. I've gone to a ton of them.
Right.
They're a wild time.
Right. So no better time than right now to become a diehard, Joey. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, you know what the Chicago Cubs could have used today, Cody?
Some offense.
And a home field advantage. And look, when it comes to your home court advantage, field ice advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage as well, and Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today is flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. And look, I'm going to reveal something. I go to big box stores all the time. I wander endless aisles, and somehow I'm hauling all these materials home, trying to coordinate it, try and get everything together. Frankly, it's overwhelming, and I can't handle it. But that's why I asked the question, why is Empire Today then my best bet for my new floor? It's because Empire Today lives and breathes flooring, and they will be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ballgame. Their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home, so you pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space. See how well it looks with your furniture in your house. You get precise measurements taken and all of your questions answered, so there are no surprises. You get clear, upfront, and all exclusive pricing at Empire Today. Plus, you can schedule your installation as soon as the next day. So here's what you got to do. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code CHGO. Yes, you heard that right. A $350 discount with code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/CHGO for full details.
Cody Delmendo, Joey Kostopoulos here, CHGO Cubs podcast.
Therapy session.
Sarah Fichter is the producer, obviously. Hit the like button. We got 20 likes and more than that watching. And it's Mother's Day. Hit the like button for your mom at least or something. I'd appreciate that. All right. We have a Toyota super chat from our good pal Steven, who is always sending us super chats. All right.
Thank you, Steven.
$5. Thoughts on PCA leadoff experiment? I do not think he's ready just yet, even with a homer today. Better off hitting 5 or 6 spot for the foreseeable future. Steven, I love that you bring this up because I kind of agree. And not even really kind of. Like, I do agree. There's been many people in this YouTube chat over the last year since PCA started playing every single day that have been clamoring for him to play leadoff. And I think this weekend we got a good dose of, like, the good and the bad. Yesterday, he led off the game with a hit, stole second, stole third. Seiya Suzuki drove him in. Then his next 2 at-bats, he saw 2 pitches in his second at-bat, and then like 3 pitches his third at-bat. And I don't even think he did anything else the rest of the game. The point is he doesn't see he's very aggressive. He goes up there very aggressive. Today, struck out in a big moment with Swanson and Turner on the bases with 0 or with 1 out. He's a guy that it's like Javi Baez. You have to take the good with the bad. The guy's an electric player. The guy is so valuable. He's toolsy. He can do all these things in the field. He's fast. All these things. And he's showing off the power this year, something that I did not think. 10 homers already. The Fangraphs projections had him at 10 homers for the season. He's at 10 homers already, and we're not even at June, all right? So he is a very valuable player, and this is nothing against him. But as far as leadoff role, yeah, if he's going to get a hit in the first inning and still second and third and really set the tone on a consistent basis, yeah, sign me up. But I do think that his bat isn't fully developed yet, and I don't think he's ever going to be a guy who walks like Ian Happ does at that rate. But if he's going to lead off, I think he's got to find a way to take more pitches and try and work counts more and be a guy that has a higher on-base percentage than what I feel like it will be at the end of this season. I don't even know what it is off the top of my head right now. It's probably pretty high considering he's been off to a great start. But most of outside of 2 games this year, he hasn't been in the leadoff spot. So I don't really care that much. Yeah, I'd like to see him, in a on-base percentage somewhere between 300, 330 for the player that he is right now. I would love to see that. Ian Happ is consistently near 350 or higher on-base percentage year in and year out, a more proven hitter. Am I saying that Ian Happ is better than PCA? No, I'm not saying that. I think PCA will be a better player than Ian Happ long-term, absolutely. But in terms of the role, in terms of where you're putting him in the lineup right now, yeah, I hope Ian Happ is fine tomorrow and we can put him back in the leadoff role. That's where I'm at. But that doesn't mean that I don't think PCA can't be your leadoff hitter one day. So I know it was long-winded and everything of what I just said, but I think one day PCA can be that guy. But I still think, despite everything that we've seen from him as an offensive hitter, he's still growing. He's still developing as a hitter. And unless unless we have to put Happ on the injured list or whatever, then PCA would probably be the guy that I would go to. But if Happ is healthy, he's the guy that I put in the lineup in the leadoff role.
Yeah, no, look, I think you're nailing it. When we're talking about PCA, yeah, right, the far-off dream is one day he is bringing that chaos to the top of the lineup. And like you said, within, 2 pitches to Kyle Tucker, he goes from first base to third base, and they can drive in and run in the first inning. I'm 100% with you on that. And also, by the way, with him hitting a home run today, he joined that stat, right, of Kyle Tucker and Shohei Ohtani are the only 2 players in Major League Baseball with double-digit home runs and double-digit steals. Hey, guess who's also on that list now? PCA. He's now the third guy, which is pretty rad. But I'm with you, man. We can't play this game of, if we're going to live in this town and say Dexter Fowler was the guy that made this lineup go, he was the fuel to this lineup, again, we are underrating Ian Happ about what he brings to this lineup. And you nailed it, that a guy that can get on base 35 to 37% of the time, provide you a little power, switch hitter, and also handle some pitches in the zone and foul them off, that gives Kyle Tucker an opportunity to see some stuff. I think that is more of a benefit for the lineup for the Chicago Cubs right now than chucking PCA up to the top. I think you could let him float throughout the lineup. Maybe at some point he will be a 5-hitter or 6-hitter, 7-hitter in our lineup. I think we kind of let him roam a little bit and just sort of let him, I don't know, sort of let him, his feathers sort of fly out there and just kind of let him do his thing. Because as you mentioned, what are 2 easy ways to get PCA out? The high stuff, the high heat upstairs, and maybe some back foot stuff. And those aren't really competitive pitches. Those are kind of Javi Baez get me out pitches. So at the top of the lineup right now, I think it is a more impermanent thing, and we'll see. Hopefully Ian Happ is healthy. But I'm with you, man. I just don't think PCA at the top of the lineup. I don't think we're ready for that yet.
Yeah. But all things considered, say Ian Happ can't play tomorrow, right? Who else would I put up there?
Nico?
Maybe Nico, but even Nico, like Nico's never been known for walking. His on base is
Kyle Tucker be your leadoff hitter?
His bat to ball skills are good enough that I guess I could deal with it for a while, and he has experience there. I guess maybe Nico might be that guy. But I also like Nico down in that 5-6 hole because of his bat to ball skills, and there's runners on base.
And what he did today.
Yeah.
That is the exact reason why he hits in that 6 hole. So
yeah, maybe Kyle Tucker, just because he does walk a lot and he finds a way to get on base, it might actually jumpstart his bat a little bit. Was this weekend bad for Kyle Tucker? I guess you can say so. But I don't know, man. It's a situation where when we're talking about, a guy struggling here or that guy struggling, then then you end up talking about the entire offense because
I was going to throw Seiya onto that wood fire recently. He popped out of a 1 for 26 last night with a couple of hits, but then today looked not quite. He's on top of his game either.
So yeah, we'll continue to follow this. I just, at the end of the day, I just hope Ian Happ it really is a day-to-day thing, because bigger thing, and I've been a defender because I am wanting to see, I want to see more, and I don't want to see them have to do this because I don't know if the result will be better. Is like Justin Turner needs to be better, dude. And me, Kevin, and Luke did a whole thing on Justin Turner our last show. So I'm not going to go into Justin Turner. Everyone kind of knows my stance on Justin Turner. It's more of like, yeah, it's not been great, but like, what's the better who's the better player? You could go with a minor league player, but you don't know, like, do you want to put that minor league player on the bench for a handful of games per week, or do you want them to get everyday playing time in the minors? There's that. Is there someone on the free agent market right now that would be better than Justin Turner? I don't know. It's not Anthony Rizzo. He's hanging out at Apple TV on Friday night, okay? Yeah. So I don't know who would be a better situation. I'd rather give a minor league player every day playing time. Now, if you do put Ian Happ on the injured list for the sake of hypotheticals, then yeah, that opens up a spot, and then maybe you can call up an Alcantara or an Owen Casey or a Moises Ballesteros and give them an opportunity to play while Ian Happ rests. You know what I mean? So I genuinely do hope that Ian Happ is just a day-to-day thing, and he's back in the lineup tomorrow. They did play a night game and went into a day game today, but yeah, it all comes back to the fact that like Ian Happ has more value on this team than a lot of fans want to give him, and you saw it today, really. So
well, right, and the idea heading into the season was Justin Turner was this type of luxury veteran presence player.
But he's not a guy that you want to play every single day in your lineup.
100%. And look, with the Ian Happ situation is, let's say maybe they want to give him those 3, 4, 5 days. It's that type of player, Justin Turner, that has to come in and produce. Because we've seen this before with sometimes of like, why is this guy still not in the lineup? Why don't they just IL this dude? Why don't they just think long term? I mean, if it's an oblique discomfort with Ian Happ, I don't know, man. That's no joke. You got to be really, really careful with that, and hopefully he's okay. But yeah, no, it's been a bit of a bummer. I'm trying to have a little bit more patience with Justin Turner for a little bit longer. But the facts are the facts is that, when you watch him there, some of those fastballs that he's fouling back there.
Yep.
The Justin Turner 4 or 5 years ago, the Cubs fans, we would watch him play against the Dodgers and scream at him into the television. He was not missing those pitches 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. And it could be just a little bit of a factor of father time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing that I definitely agree with you about. But I also think that when you're a bench player,
it's hard, right? Yeah. He's not getting regular run.
Right. Yeah, but at the same time, I don't want him getting regular run. So it just find me in between. And the Cubs are pushing him on social media. Like they posted a Mother's Day video on Instagram today that had him all over it.
The magic tricks in the clubhouse.
And like, it's almost like I've said this before. I feel like the Cubs want him to be like that David Ross type role where he was the veteran who, I don't necessarily think it would be the same because I don't think he has the same personality as David Ross, but I do kind of view him as that, or at least that's what it feels like the Cubs are pushing him as. But at the end of the day, it's a results-based league, and the guy isn't performing. He did walk today, but other than that, like he didn't do much this weekend, didn't do much yesterday, and I'm okay if he's on this team coming off the bench to take pinch hit at bats, this and that, but he's not a guy that I want to see in the lineup every single day. The good news about Justin Turner today that I will say is that he was finally towards the bottom of the lineup after being in the like 4th or 5th in the lineup so many dang times. So,
and real quick, I'm in agreement with you that spot should not be going to Ballesteros, Alcantara, or Casey if they're not going to play as regularly as what they're trying to ask from Justin Turner right now.
Right, exactly.
100%.
Now later in the season, if it's August and you're coming to an end in the minor league season, then I'm okay if you want Ballesteros or Casey or Alcantara to just play a couple days a week. You know what I mean? Because I think that being in a pennant chase or whatever division chase, I should say, would be more valuable for them than right now here in May, where every game matters for them in terms of their development and playing well and all these things. So I just think the timing of all this is not exactly great right now.
Dude, let's take a break and talk about Cade Horton on the other side, huh?
Yeah.
Let's start feeling good.
Yeah.
Getting into this.
I need to feel good. 4 seasons might help me feel good. All right. Summer will be here before you know it. Is your home's air conditioning up for the challenge? 4 Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Now is the time to get your air conditioning checked out, and 4 Seasons experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. 2024 was officially Chicago's hottest year on record. Did not know that. I was today years old when I learned that. The heat index even reached 114 degrees last summer at O'Hare. When it's hot and humid, you want to know your home will be cool and comfortable. Just because you have to sweat the Cubs game out or any other game out doesn't mean you need to sweat in your house. The Cubs stress me out. I don't need anything else stressing me out or making me sweaty. All right. So 4 Seasons expert technicians ensure you always receive reliable service, and 4 Seasons doesn't charge more for service during nights, weekends, and holidays. That's awesome. Right?
I love it.
Schedule your 4 Seasons AC tune-up today. Save $50 and enjoy a 1-year no breakdown guarantee. You can save up to $4,000 on new comfort systems with 4 Seasons. New AC units form $39 a month, and AC furnace combos from $57 a month. All right. Your trusted local experts are 4 Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit 4seasonsheatingcooling.com for their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's 4seasonsheatingcooling.com.
I'm Greek and I wake up sweating, so I salute you, 4 Seasons. Thank you so much for being a wonderful sponsor of the CHGO Cubs podcast. We also want to talk to you about if you've ever tried to buy a home, get a loan, or just deal with money stuff in general. You know it can be a lot. That's why we got to tell you about the Rate app, and it's seriously a game changer. You can get pre-approved for a mortgage in minutes without the need to jump through a million hoops. And I hate jumping through one hoop, let alone 1 million. And if you're thinking about a home equity loan or a personal loan, you could secure one in under 15 days. Look, it would be such a headache, but the Rate app is also here to help you find the best homeowners and auto insurance based on what you actually need. The whole thing is powered by AI, so it's smart and saves you time and money. And something that is an unexpected bonus, they've added over 800 free wellness videos. Stuff like meditation, breathing exercises, stretching, basically tools to help you feel better mentally and physically. So if you're stressed out and you're watching the Cubs on a Sunday, I cannot recommend more. Or you're looking for a loan or a mortgage, seriously, anything, the Rate app can handle it. Once that's covered, you can go hit one of their free wellness videos to chill out. It's one app that helps you with both your wallet and your well-being. Download the Rate app today to get started.
All right. We are going to talk about Cade Horton, but I do feel like we need to talk about Matt Boyd a little bit before we get there. Matt Boyd continues to be awesome. Matt Boyd has been one of the bigger wins for Jed Hoyer. We get a lot of people come to YouTube chat and complain about Jed Hoyer a lot. Sure, you can make an argument that perhaps Justin Turner hasn't been a great investment. You paid him $6 million and he has an OPS under 500 right now, right? Not great. But Matt Boyd, you're paying him, what, $15, $16 million over the next couple years. And my biggest fear for him, and I've said this many times, was health. And we continue to knock on the wood, man. But he continues to go out there and give the Cubs a chance to win. He is not the reason the Cubs lost today. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned, 0 walks, 8 strikeouts. Gave up the home run to Vientos, I believe. But and then the first run he gave up was he hit someone. I think he hit Marte with a pitch. And then Cubs legend Luis Torrens hit a triple. So, those 2 runs. But again, 6 innings, 2 earned. You take that every time from Matt Boyd. And 8 Ks, the whiffs that this guy's been getting. I talk a lot about how they don't get enough, but this guy, he's consistently giving you 7, 8 strikeouts per outing, it feels like, recently. I don't know if let me start over. I think the big question moving forward is, for me, will continue to be health. And then also, can he be doing this in September? How long will this last? Those are my 2 questions. But right now, he's stepping up when the Cubs absolutely need it. When you don't have Justin Steele for the rest of the season, and Shota Imanaga is out for, let's just guess a month, right? You said it in the first segment, like Matt Boyd Day feels like a day that you got to win, and that's what makes this loss hurt. But again, he wasn't the reason they lost today.
100%, and it's crazy to think about that, but that's the state of the starting rotation right now. And unless Ben Brown gets on a heater, and we'll see what happens with Cade Horton moving forward, Matthew Boyd is kind of the slump stopper, or he is the dude that you should be penciling in for a W whenever he takes the bump. And look, man, you're so right. I mean, I think moving forward, the big one is obviously going to be his innings workload moving forward, but it really has been impressive that we've seen this story a little bit before from the Jed Hoyer team, of signing to a guy and really enjoying his pitch mix, and they want to get involved with certain shapes of pitches, and they really think that it's going to be able to play into their philosophy. And dude, Matthew Boyd goes out there with 3 or 4 pitches. His mix is great. He can get outs with every single pitch that he has. He can blow it by you. He's got a pretty good changeup, and he's got that Barry back foot breaking ball, and he's got a little bit of that cutter action too as well. And he's been everything as advertised. It's been a huge win. It's been another great pickup by Jed Hoyer. Just to throw it back at you, I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's like Kyle Tucker is Matthew Boyd right now the second best acquisition that Jed Hoyer's made in the offseason? Would you put Carson Kelly into that mix? Or I would probably say Matthew Boyd's probably the second best move Jed Hoyer's made from this last offseason to now.
Yeah, just because whether Carson Kelly continues to look like Barry Bonds or not, Matt Boyd, he plays, how do I say this? Carson Kelly's still going to be your backup catcher. He's not going to play every single day.
Sure.
Matt Boyd, every 5th day, they need him to go out there right now, especially and be productive. 45 and a third innings pitched, 2.78 earned run average, and they're paying him more than they're paying Carson Kelly. So we all generally feel like the regression from Carson Kelly is coming. Doesn't mean that he'll be bad, but he won't be Barry Bonds. I think with Matthew Boyd,
don't jinx him now.
Sorry. Matthew Boyd, though, is a guy that's shown to be this before. He was great with the Guardians last year, coming off the injury, made his season debut against the Cubs last year and shoved against us, right?
Shut us down.
Right? I would say that Boyd's probably been the second best acquisition for Jed and Carter from last offseason to this point. So I'm looking at his baseball savant right now, man. Like, 86 percentile barrel percentage. So he's not allowing a ton of barrels at all. 81 percentile hard hit rate. And his fastball run, 91st percentile. His baseball savant is interesting when you look at all these regular numbers and then look at his baseball savant. There's a mixture of red and blue, but overall, most of his blue is more like average than it is like terrible. So 26 percentile ground ball rate, which I feel like I don't know. I feel like I do see him get more ground balls than not, but the eye test tells me otherwise. So.
Yeah, there's a part of me that feels like that this is sustainable.
Yeah.
Health provided. I think he's shown you enough. Mm-hmm. Sometimes some guys just go on a little bit of a heater and then really, really come back to earth. I do think this is sustainable for Matt Boyd moving forward.
Right. I think the two big things, though, 76 percentile chase rate and opponent's average exit velocity against him. He's at the 78th percentile at about 87 miles per hour. So he's generating a ton of weak contact. So, yeah. Can he give up a homer every now and then? Yeah, but I don't think that he's a guy that I feel like we can sit here and say that I don't think we're sitting here going into Matt Boyd Day thinking, okay, how many the good version of him is today and the bad version is him giving up a bunch of tanks. I don't think he is his display that he's had some starts where I feel like command was a problem in terms of walks, but 0 walks today.
0 walks.
Cade
Horton, 0 walks yesterday. Brad Keller doing a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So no, I think these are definitely positive signs. And now we just need the offense to maybe catch up a little bit after going cold for a couple of days. But again, just to reiterate, to bring it home, it's crazy right now. But when Matthew Boyd is on the mound, Chicago Cubs really kind of need to win those games right now.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the rotation right now is a little bit of a toss-up. I'm not throwing Taillon, overboard because he gave up a bunch of tanks on Friday.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna happen. I think Taillon is a really solid pitcher, but I just think right now Matthew Boyd. I'm not going to use the A word, the ACE word, but it's just right now with where we are in this season, in this moment, Matthew Boyd starts to really important to the Chicago Cubs.
Okay. Let's talk about Cade Horton. I know everyone wants to talk about Cade Horton. James in the chat says Horton looked great, but he looks slightly built for MLB workhorse. And I think that's fair to say. Yeah. KM says, not sure if Horton can do more than 70 pitches, which means 4 innings since he tends to do a lot of strikeouts. So let's set the table here. Cade Horton yesterday, 4 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned, 0 walks, 5 strikeouts. And if you watch the game, the 3 earned was a Brett Beatty 3-run homer, and that was it. He had a little bit of trouble, induced some groundouts to get out of an inning, had some big strikeouts and big moments. I think he displayed, for me, he at least displayed that he belongs, right? And I think he definitely showed that there is room to grow. But overall, just a very solid major league debut. I know a lot of fans on Cubs Twitter on Saturday during the day, it's more like Friday when it came out, because they basically said that Brad Keller they were going to have an opener. And I know a lot of fans were pissed about that just because they, he's in Iowa or in his minor league career, he just started every game, they never use an opener. And so, does this mess with his routine, this and that?
What messes with your routine? Facing Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto in your first ever MLB debut. I thought it was a smart move by counsel doing that.
Yeah, well, and it showed to be, because Brad Keller came out in the bottom of the first, the bottom of the first inning on Saturday, shoved it, got those 3 guys out, and then Cade Horton came in. And between the two, they pitched 5 innings. And my big thing was that he didn't walk anyone. 5 strikeouts. He made Juan Soto visibly frustrated. And he's one of the best, not just hitters. Well, I guess you could just say hitter because he's not a great defensive player, but he's one of the best hitters in baseball. Arguably one of the best hitters I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, we caught him at a good time this weekend.
Yeah, we
bright
did.
spots.
We did.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about bright spots, yeah. So that's my 2 cents on Cade Horton in his major league debut. I think he went just over 70 pitches. I remember Tommy Hotovy came out and told him, try and get this guy, but don't be afraid to walk him if you do. And he went after him, and he induced, I think he got a line out to Birdie. So, Cubs positionally were positioned well. Overall, again, there's nothing to really complain about here. But I am intrigued to see what he does. I believe he would face the White Sox next week. So that lineup isn't nearly as good. I just want to continue to see him not walk guys. Go out there, throw strikes, and we'll see if that pitch count rises as we move forward here, because I don't think he's going to be in the rotation all season, because if they have an innings limit on him, then he's going to at some point have to be moved to the bullpen. But the Cubs need innings from their rotation right now, or their bullpen is going to fall apart. And a lot of people already think it's falling apart, but there's a lot of layers to it, right?
Yeah.
So I want to see Cade Horton go out in his next start and be given a little bit more length, if they're allowing that. If they're strictly looking at him like, okay, 70, 80 pitches per start because he's coming off the injury, all this and that, fine. But it will be a domino effect down the road if you don't get Shota Imanaga back sooner or later,
Well, it definitely depends on the kind of stressors that you have inning by inning, and you can kind of gauge the pitch count along that.
And obviously, if he goes out there and sucks and gives up a couple homers or whatever, then you're not going to just leave him out there for 5-6 innings. But I am saying that his innings are so important right now because Imanaga is out, and they need some of these guys in the rotation to go deeper into games. Boyd gave you 6 today. It was a huge 6 considering you had the bullpen game yesterday, right? But you need more of that from Brown. You need Boyd to keep doing what he's doing. You need Tyone to bounce back big in his next start, right? These things are important, and we've seen the bullpen, the domino effect of your starters not being able to go deep in the games consistently. We've seen it take a toll in the bullpen as the season goes along. I think 2023 is a great example of how that happened.
Yeah, it's a little all hands on deck right now in the middle of May, which sort of is what it is when it comes to the Cubs pitching due to injuries and some ineffectiveness in other areas. But I think there's a lot to like from Cade Horton's performance last night. The 0 walks is huge for me, right? Mm-hmm. You were referencing that Pete Alonso at bat that they let him pitch. I said in the Slack, I just thought that was a really gritty at bat that they came out and they said, yeah, you know what? I want you to toss up some breaking balls, see if you can get Alonso to bite. And what happens was he wasn't going to give in to him. He threw 3 breaking balls that Alonso spat on. It was 3-0. He came back and painted a beautiful 96-mile-an-hour fastball. And then he came back with the curve again, and his stuff is good. So it played to the point where Alonso bit and lined out, and they got out of the inning. And I thought that was a great moment of not giving up, understanding the situation, and pitching to the moment, and then executing within that moment. So I thought that was really encouraging. We hear a lot about his fastball velocity, so it was nice to see the 97 on the gun right at times. I thought the fastball played. A.J. Przinsky on the call said as much, where these guys were having a hard time catching up to it. The breaking stuff in that curveball looked like it was sharp and it played well. I think he really only made 2 mistakes, right? It was the home run to Beatty, and then I feel like he hung one to Vientos, and he hit like a hard single back to center. Mm-hmm. I think what is going to be interesting moving forward, again, when we talk about pitch count, is navigating back half of lineups, the second time through, all that good stuff. And I am interested to see, I don't think they're going to do an opener with Brad Keller, but I am curious to see, are they going to maybe try and pair somebody on the Cade Horton days, knowing that it might be a 4-inning start, and have someone that can go multiple innings on that day Cade Horton pitches? Maybe something to keep an eye on moving forward. And I hope it's not Brad Keller, because we need that dude in a different role right now.
Yeah. So we can kind of use this conversation to kind of explain my frustration about today's game. Because Shota Imanaga is on the injured list with the hamstring, this is why Cade Horton is here. This is why they had to do a bullpen game yesterday. Full stop.
Yep.
That's the reason. And when you watch the bullpen do what it did today, while, yes, you got 3 hits and you somehow scored 2 runs with those 3 hits, and I do lean to put this more on the offense in many ways, just because we rank number 1 in many offensive categories. At the same time, as I said in the first segment, if you at some point you got to win some of these low scoring games where the pitching kind of picks up the offense.
Yeah, bullpen did not do the job today.
Right.
No.
So if they didn't have to do a bullpen game yesterday, the bullpen is more fresh, and maybe Porter Hodge doesn't give up a tank to Francisco Lindor. Or maybe instead of using Porter Hodge in the 8th inning, you're able to use Drew Pomerantz or Daniel Palencia. You know what I mean? As bad as the bullpen was today, and when I say the bullpen, I guess I should just say Porter Hodge and Gavin Hollowell, because Gavin Hollowell came in and made it worse, right? Yesterday, Drew Pomerantz, Daniel Palencia were awesome. And Daniel Palencia finally, Craig used him in high leverage with a lead.
Punched out Soto.
Right.
Yeah, dude.
And I know he walked a guy. I think he walked 1 or 2 guys, whatever. I thought he threw mostly competitive pitches, and I thought it was a big moment for his career, because Craig had only been using him when they were down, like 1 or 2 runs. That was the only time that he would use him. He puts him in there with a lead late in the game, and he went out there and got some big outs after kind of being in a situation that, he kind of created himself. But I just think it's a good step for him. And Drew Pomerantz, I don't know what's going on with. I just think that's a great developmental, or maybe not developmental, but a great find by the organization. It's one of those.
Yeah,
he's like another
2 years.
It's another version of like Julian Merriweather a couple years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought the bullpen was great yesterday, and Hodge getting the save was huge. He had to face Lindor and Soto, and
can I ask you, were you okay with Counsell going back to the well on that in the bottom of the 8th, instead of maybe hoping you got a tie game at the time? You have that same lineup coming up, Lindor, Soto, all their heavy hitters. Were you cool?
Talking about today?
Yeah. Were you cool with Counsell going to Hodge in the bottom of the 8th?
Yeah. We talked about it while we were watching it. If it wouldn't have been Hodge, I probably would have gone. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I probably would have gone to. I would have either gone back
to Keller
for one more inning, which can be a good or a bad thing. Or I would have gone to Merriweather, who just gave up a 2-run homer yesterday, right? Or I probably would have gone to Presley, because it was a tie game. And I didn't feel good about any of that. I'd rather have them gone to Hodge or stick with Keller. That would have been my decision. So,
because if you're Counsell, the game is in the hands of now facing Lindor, Soto, and Alonso. I'm with you. I think his thought process was, I'd rather have Hodge face that, us take the lead and roll the dice with Presley, than go to Presley in that moment.
Yeah. So,
it didn't work, but,
right.
That was the thought process, I feel like.
So 2 things are true, my friends who are here watching us.
2 things.
And are pissed off about this game. Do some of your arms in the bullpen need to be able to go back-to-back days? Yes. But this goes back to what I've said about how the starters haven't been able to go deep enough in games on a consistent basis. So whether you're using Hodge on back-to-back days or not, you're still using him plenty during the week anyway, and other guys, right? It becomes a domino effect, and that's why losing Shota Imanaga and Justin Steele are huge. Maybe not so much in the moment right now, but definitely long-term. And does Hodge need to be able to go back-to-back days and literally today not even be 24 hours after the game because it was a quick turnaround after a night game? Yes. Did he have it today? No. Do I think he'll be fine? Yes. can tell me about his 5.71 earned run average all you want. You and all of you in this chat and me and looking at me right now know that he's the guy that you feel most confident in right now. And he's gotten big outs. He's gotten some big. He's got some outs in very big critical moments of the game. So does he need time now to bring this ERA down? Yes, he does. So that's where I'm at on that. And it doesn't take away from the fact that, yeah, they need to add bullpen help before the trade deadline if they're in it. If they are leading this division, yes, they need to add bullpen help.
Yeah, and bringing Ryan Brazier and Tyson Miller back up, I don't think that's the help that you're referring to. It's great. Hopefully it does help.
Yeah.
But again, outside the org, help is going to have to be mandated.
Yeah. Well, Ryan Brazier theoretically should be a big ad for this team based on what he's done.
In theory, if he was healthy, he's probably pitching the bottom of the eighth in that situation. I think that's what you brought him in for, was those 7th and 8th innings, and we just haven't seen him yet.
Can tell how confident Craig is going with Hodge in that moment instead of Presley, And then also whenever he went to Hollowell when they were already down 2 runs, it's almost that's where he sits with Presley right now too. So you could put some blame on today's game too on just the fact that Ryan Presley hasn't been what I guess they had hoped. I mean, he's in the doghouse right now. He pitched on Friday in a 6-1 deficit.
In the 6th inning.
Right. So
that ain't good.
Right. And that's what happens when you give up 7 runs or whatever it was in that
So can
crazy game.
I ask you, how is your circle of trust these days?
My circle of trust.
Hodge for sure.
Hodge is in there. I think I got to shrink the picture a little bit. Yeah. He's staying in there. It's not the first time he's given up runs. He's the guy I feel the most confident in. Maybe Brad Keller is on the way of surpassing him because he's just been awesome. But also they haven't used Brad Keller in the same situations as Porter Hodge. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's him. It's Brad Keller. It's Daniel Palencia. It's Caleb Thielbar. It's Drew Pomerantz. That's where and Julian Merriweather is on the line right now.
Okay. Merriweather's in the parking lot a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's overall been fine, but his last couple of high leverage spots, he hasn't been good. He gave up 2-run homer yesterday. Thank God they got the insurance runs.
Made that game a little bit tighter than it needed to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. So, as everyone in the chat has said, and I think we all feel, they have guys who can have really good moments in there, and those same guys can have bad moments, man. And
well, and to that point, moving forward,
it's a situation.
When you're talking about, Ben Brown put a solid start together last time. We need a little bit. Craig Counsell's words. We need a little bit better from Ben Brown. If he can go a little bit deeper into games, Matthew Boyd keep doing what he's doing. I'm not worried about Tyone going deep into games. That's good news. Mm-hmm. And we'll see what happens with Cade Horton, who honestly, congratulations, got his first win. Yeah. And my favorite, real quick, my favorite part about that yesterday was, because it is Mother's Day, how rad would it be if while we were doing this show right now, our mothers were also being interviewed for a long stretch of time during the broadcast? Sarah, would that be amazing? Would you be accepting of that?
Be entertaining.
Entertaining. I'm just so proud of my Sarah.
That's what I'm saying. It would be entertaining.
Yeah, great. Should do that here at CHGO. Bring the parents in. Do side interviews while we're doing shows.
They definitely, the broadcast today did not need any more B-roll, though. That's for sure.
Joe Girardi, man.
Boy.
And this goes back with him on Marquee, too. I don't think he's been on a broadcast. I don't even know if he's still with Marquee because I don't think I've seen him in their studio.
It's been a while.
Maybe he's more of a midseason guy for them this year. But going back to last year, every time Joe Girardi was on the broadcast, I feel like the Cubs lose. So you want to pin something? You want to blame someone else again on this loss? I'm blaming Joe Girardi.
I got another one too in the chat. Drop in your grade for the Roku channel's broadcast today. To Sarah's point, I thought for the Roku channel that seems to not get a ton of games this year, didn't seem like they did a ton of prep. And I got a lot of comments about people having a hard time finding it. Yeah. Not a ton of graphics.
Why are you picking Mother's Day to do it? Like, I get why they wanted to, because obviously families are watching the game.
Let's challenge our mothers even more.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I'm like, why do you pick Mother's Day? I mean, we ran into that issue this morning with my mom. She wanted to watch the game and she couldn't, and then she was like, well, I'm just not going to watch that. I mean, you picked today.
The thing is, the thing about it, and you can relay this to your mom, and it's okay that she didn't know this because it's not like MLB has been showing games on Roku for years, but the way MLB is going to push it is it's free. All you got to do is download the Roku app and you can watch it.
She's not going to do that.
That's
the only argument I need.
You lost me at download.
That's
yeah,
fine.
you lost
a lot of
her
moms
at
out
You're going to lose a lot of people like that.
She's
yeah.
a 63-year-old woman. She is not going to be downloading another
My
streaming
parents
app.
literally said today, where is the Cubs game today? I can't find it. And I said, it's on the Roku channel. And they said, what channel? As in the number.
Yeah.
And we then walked it into the downloading.
A friendly reminder, though, that for everyone that does have Roku, Greg Braggs did tweet. I can't remember the channel that CHGO Sports is on, but
only 10 away.
Yeah, we're only 10 away from what the channel was that Roku was.
The sports channel.
Yeah, the sports channel. But we are on Roku along with all your other streaming platforms because we are a fast channel podcast.
Yeah, I agree with Bobby. He says Roku was okay, better than the commentators rooting against the Cubs last night. Yeah, I can't take to these Fox broadcasts that have AJ Pierzynski and Adam Wainwright on. It's annoying. Yeah, so that's the pro about Roku is that you don't like Apple TV. You have to pay for it.
Yeah,
Roku,
100%.
you just got to download the app and you literally search Cubs and it'll show it if they're on there. So that's that.
We do like free.
We do like free.
Yeah, we don't mind free.
We got a few minutes before we head out of here, and I feel like I need to bring this up because we got some people freaking out about Kyle Tucker in our YouTube chat today. And listen, guys, go ahead, show it, Sarah.
Yeah,
show it. All right,
I love it.
I'm not gonna shut up about this. They need to extend him. Okay, now you can take it away now. All right, I want the people to see me as I say this. Okay, listen, I understand Kyle Tucker was otherworldly in April. He really was. Okay, and I know he's cooled off here a little bit in May. All right, my good pal Michael Cerami from Bleacher Nation tweeted this morning, okay, before the game. So these numbers are different now. But since April 20th, Kyle Tucker hitting .219, but with a .351 on base and a .406 slug. That's still good for a .120 WRC plus. So you're telling me that Kyle Tucker, when he is quote-unquote slumping, is still 20% above a league average hitter. That's what he's telling me this morning. Okay. I said in the first segment, man, he didn't come through in some spots, right? Maybe some other guys should come through in some spots too. That's fair to say too. I think if you are freaking out about Kyle Tucker right now and you're like some people in the chat saying that he isn't worth the money, you are crazy. I'm just being honest with you. I think you're crazy. The guy will slump. Aaron Judge last year, the guy who's hitting well over 400 right now for the entire season, Aaron Judge hit 200 for the entire month of April last year. The reason I remember this, I brought this up when we were talking about someone on the Cubs slumping. I think it was Ian Happ's slump last year. Even the best players in baseball slump. Okay? So even though Kyle Tucker isn't necessarily getting a ton of hits right now, the .351 on base percentage, at least coming into today, it still signals that he's finding ways to get on base, probably because he's walking a ton. He did hit a homer on Friday. Would have been nice if there were some guys on base. Yeah, that's not his fault. Okay? I'm not telling y'all that you can't be annoyed. I'm not telling y'all that you can't be, concerned. But for you to sit here in this chat and say that this guy isn't worth the money, that this guy is not a star, that some of you have said that in the chat, you're making me raise an eyebrow, okay? Like, calm down. I know. They lost. They lost two consecutive series. It sucks. And I'm just as annoyed as you. And to be honest with you, I'd rather be I'd rather be hanging out with my mom right now instead of doing this post-game show. All right? But I'm here, and we're talking about this annoying series loss. So this is me talking you off the ledge. All right? Kyle Tucker's going to be fine. He's quote-unquote slumping right now, and he's still 20% above a league average hitter. All right? So just chill. We got the Marlins, got the White Sox coming up. This is my spiel of like, these are things.
Yep.
This is where we get right. Okay. The Cubs have played, and everyone's tired of hearing it. They have played one of the toughest schedules in baseball, if not the toughest. And now your schedule's getting a little soft. You get the Marlins, you get the White Sox coming up. This is where the Cubs need to start taking advantage of who they got.
Yeah, real quick. 3 games at home versus the Marlins, 3 games at home versus the White Sox, 4 games on the road at the Marlins, 3 at the Reds, 3 at home for the Rockies, 3 at home that spills over into June against the Reds, and then 3 games against the Nationals.
Yeah.
That is a favorable schedule.
Right. Now, if they do not play well during this favorable schedule, then yeah, I'll sit here and I'll be just as annoyed as you guys, and I will be critical in all of that. But I need to see it play out first. The Cubs took care of business against some of the best teams in the league, and now they need to take care of business against teams that they are better than. They did that against the Pirates and the Brewers a week ago.
Yep.
Right? So go back home, got the Marlins, and you got the White Sox next weekend. You need to win both those series at the very least. It'd be nice to sweep one finally.
Sweep the White Sox. Let's go. Come on.
Whatever it takes.
What are we talking about here?
Easy money.
Whatever it takes. They need to win these next two series, and I know they'll win these next two. If they win these next two series, no one will take it seriously because wins only matter against good teams, because I just know how the internet works, even though that's not true, but that's what people will say. But at the end of the day, if they win these next two series, we're going to be in a good spot going into the end of May. I think that's the main point that I'm trying to play here. So, anyway.
And if I can just add on to the Kyle Tucker thing, I was doing a little experiment last night with some statistics about Kyle Tucker in April, and just going off of OPS plus for all you Chicago Cubs sickos out there that enjoy the Chicago Cubs rich history. Kyle Tucker in the month of April, OPS plus 163. Aramis Ramirez in 2004, that huge season that he had when he hit 38 home runs, in April had a 144 plus OPS plus. Hawk Andre Dawson, 1987 MVP, April, 158 OPS plus. KB, 2016, April, 142. Mark Grayson, 96, when he hit 378 in April, 143. And then Sammy Sosa in 98 had a 152 OPS plus. We're just going
in April.
Yeah, just those months, because we're living in the here and now. Yeah. Of course, they went on I didn't mention Derek Lee, who had like a 236 in April because he hit like 440.
In 2005.
Yeah, in 2005, correct. But we're just living in the here and now of what we have and what we know of Kyle Tucker in a Cubs uniform. And the type of April and the type of production that he put up is right there among some of the better Chicago Cubs seasons from some of our great hitters in history that we have seen. And I am 100% with you on extending Kyle Tucker. And honestly, I'm on board with the concept, too, of Chicago Cubs fans have a say in this, in my opinion, okay? From the extend Kyle Tucker signs to the King Tuck nicknames to us bowing down to him at right field. We need to give him, nicknames and songs and all that stuff. Because seriously, dude, we need to make him a folk hero in Chicago to make it so undeniable that if Tom Ricketts weren't to sign him to a long-term extension, he would be a pariah for us kicking out, you know what I mean, our favorite player in town. So I my only recommendation is just enjoy the Kyle Tucker experience. I promise you he is going to turn it around and get hot again. When he is, everyone's going to be thumbs up. There'll be days when he's cold, but that's part of baseball.
Yeah, the 160-game season, man. And Hall of Famers,
he's allowed to have a bad week.
Hall of Famers failed 70% of the time, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He gave such a great impression. It's fair to say that he hasn't been as good of late. That doesn't mean that he sucks.
Not everyone can be Carson
he's not
Kelly.
Worth keeping around, right?
We all can't be Christian Bethencourt. We all can't be Carson Kelly.
Yes.
All right. We all must live our own lives through our own journeys.
We cannot all be Barry Bonds. Okay. So I think we got our point across. The Cubs are going to try and get right tomorrow. I believe back at beautiful historic Wrigley Field against the Marlins. Me and Luke will be back here.
Back from Mexico. Luke's coming back.
Yeah. He took his parents and his wife and everyone to Mexico for a day. Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. So yeah, we'll see you here tomorrow post game. Hit the like button on your way out. I appreciate you guys' support. Tell your mom you love her. Buy her some flowers if you haven't already. All right. Thanks for checking out CHGO Cubs podcast.
Love you, Mom.
See you guys. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.